We're going to be looking at proportional reasoning, and the method we're going to use to solve this is graphing. The overall expectation is to solve problems involving proportional reasoning, and specific expectation is solve problems involving ratios, rates, and directly proportional relationships in various contexts using a variety of methods. And we're going to use some dynamic software to help us solve this. So here's our inquiry type question. We'll read through it once, and then we'll highlight what's important the second time through. The D'Souza family is going on a trip to Prince Edward Island and back. It is 1,600 kilometers from home to PEI. Determine the total cost of gas for the D'Souza family's trip to PEI back if the cost of gas is 128 cents per liter and the car uses 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers. Oh, lots of info. So let's highlight our important stuff. The D'Souza family is going on a trip. The trip is 1,600 kilometers from home to PEI, but what's also very important is they're going there and back. Okay, so that's two ways. That's only a one-way distance, so we have to figure it out two ways. Determine the total cost of gas for the D'Souza family's trip to PEI and back if the car costing gas. So here we're going to do costing gas a little differently because this is like a second part of it per liter. And the car uses 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers. I highlight this part in yellow because it kind of pertains to the first part a little more. So we'll take that information to start. First, let's do a quick diagram so you can see the distance of this trip. So the D'Souza family going on a trip. This is their house, and this is Prince Edward Island, and there the trip is 1,600 kilometers, and of course the family does want to come home too, so it's another 1,600 kilometers. So we have to figure out the total trip, which means we have to add these two distances together. So in total kilometers, the family actually travels 3,200. So let's set up our two variables in this question. One of our variables is our kilometers and distance, okay? So we have our kilometers, and we know the family trip now is 3,200 kilometers. We also know, or want to know, how many liters they use, and that's kind of our unknown at this point. They have told us, they've given us a rate that for every 100 kilometers we use, oops, I'm going to use red for that. For every 100 kilometers we use, our car is going to use 9.8 liters of gas. Okay, and just to prove what type of relationship it is, if I don't go anywhere, then I don't use any gas. So this is a directly proportional relationship. Okay, and because we're using dynamic software, we want to build an equation. Because it's directly proportional, we're going to use y is equal to m times x. So we have to figure out what our x and y are going to be. Usually x is called your independent variable, so it causes the one that causes the other to change. And depending on our distance traveled, that's going to let us know how many liters we use. So we're going to call kilometers our independent, okay, which means it's the x variable, which means liters is our dependent variable, and we'll call that our y variable. Okay. Now we need a rate. And a rate, they usually use terms like per some value. And we want to know how many liters per kilometer our car uses, which means this line here meaning per means equal to 1. So we want to convert our kilometers to the value of 1. Well, the only info we have is on this line here. So we need to take 100 and divide it by 100 to get down to the value of 1. I'm going to need to do the exact same thing to y 9.8. And this is going to give us our m value. So 9.8, should be divided by, not 9.8, but divided by 100. Because we divided the one side by 100, we'll divide the other. And it turns out our rate is going to be 0.098. You can use a calculator if you want to check that. That is our m value. So we're going to replace m in our equation with that number. Okay. So our equation now reads y is equal to m times x. Y is equal to 0.098x. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug this in my computer, and remember x is our kilometers. Remember our x value is actually equal to, this family uses 3,200 kilometers there and back. Okay, oops. So here we are, and I'm actually going to have to extend the screen just a little. 3,300. Okay. What we have here is our line. and I need to get to 3,300. So I'm going to say x equals 3,300, okay, and that's going to give me a vertical line, okay, that comes up. Oh, sorry, 200 the family uses, right? And it's not even on our graph here, so we're going to have to extend this even farther. This might have to go up to 300. Let's see. Nope. So you can see how to manipulate this by watching what I'm doing here. But this is great. Oh, it's just not quite in the picture. There we go. Family uses 3,200 kilometers, which means they use $314 in gas. Or sorry, in liters. So our y in this case is equal to 314. That is very important for what we're about to do next. Okay, the next part of this question, we have to build another formula. Our two variables in the next part are the family's cost, because that's really what they're asking us, okay, what the family costs, and that depends on how many liters we use. Okay, so same idea, we're going to build an equation, y equals m times x, and while doing this, okay, we again have to give our x and our y value. Well, we're going to call our liters our x, and our cost will be our y for this equation here. And they've already told us our rate. In the question, they said we use 128 cents for every liter. Well, if x represents liters, that's perfect. We've already reduced it to per 1 liter. I'm going to convert it to dollars, so 1.28. And remember, we used 314 liters on this trip, so what was our total cost? Well, we'll plug this formula in, y equals 1.28 x. Okay, and when we plug in that formula, we're going to figure out our cost. And remember, our x in this case is 314. So let's get rid of this one, and now we have our new equation, or a new line for our equation. Okay, 1.28, and our liters are 314. I'm going to make an x vertical line straight up, and it's going to intersect, and it looks like it intersects right here. So if we use 300 and, sorry, is that the right value? 314, not 324. Let's go back. Sorry, so our value is going to be 314. If we use 314 liters of gas, our cost to the family is going to be $402. So the family's total cost, y, is equal to $402. So, if you'd like to find other ways on how to solve this question, you can watch our other playlists on proportional